In today's video, I'm going to show you how we can track the observability of our brand or of a specific kind of company across LLMs. We got this wonderful HTML, and this is actually also giving us some action items. So this is a new term which is called GEO. So probably you know SEO, search engine optimization, but there's like a new way of optimizing to be kind of cited by LLMs. And that is actually a bit of a science itself, and there's many companies that are actually performing and working within this field to make it happen for you that you are cited more across different LLMs, whether this is ChatGPT or Claude models or Gemini models. And so I have created here a workflow with Needle, because why paying for like a specific service a lot of money if you can just like do this with a simple agentic workflow? So I went ahead here to the Needle agent and I said to the Needle agent, hey, I need a Geo performance optimization workflow, so please build me one. And for the purpose of this demo, I thought it's maybe funny to actually track the Geo scores of the companies that try to help you to increase your Geo scores. So I went here over to ChatGPT and I asked it, tell me similar companies such as Peak AI, because Peak AI is one of these companies which allows you to track your observability across different kind of like LLMs, generative engine optimization, as it's called, GEO. And so there are a few ones here, and like I will choose these ones. And for the first step of my workflow here, I need to add them to a new collection. So we want to index their landing pages, so that based on the landing page data, we are going to generate some questions, which we then are going to ask to the LLM. For example, we could ask, what are the top tools 2026 to optimize my Geo? And if you ask such a question to an LLM, ideally you want, if you are working within this field, that the LLM is going to cite your company or is going to mention you. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, we go over here, we create a collection, we call it Geo companies, I think I will call it. And I'm going to index into this Geo companies different landing pages of these kind of like companies. So I create a new connector, I say web connector, and I will enter the URLs manually. So let's take the landing pages of these different companies. Apparently Profound is one. Profound, your branch mentioned by AI. Apparently this is a company which is like talking about this. So let's take their landing page URL here, put it over here to Needle, so that I'm going to index the data that they have. Otterly AI, apparently another company, I don't know. So we see here PKI is advertising also on this keyword, on the competitor keyword. So let's go over here, Otterly.ai. We also would like to take Athena HQ, apparently another company. I don't know this company. Action and AI search, apparently another one. Let's see, put it also over here. Let's take this Crotter. I don't have no idea which company this is. Apparently they also are mentioned by ChatGPT for search for PKI alternatives. And let's take also this PKI company. There they are. I correctly wrote it with a K instead of a C. And let's go over here. And now we have it. Web connector for Geo companies. So now I'm creating this connector, and what this connector is going to do, it's going to add the landing pages of each of this company to this collection. So this collection is going to index this data. So we can derive questions, like questions that we would ask to an LLM on the fly, based on the content that these companies put on their landing page. So if we go back over here, we want to go back to our workflow, and now we want to select the collection where we have it, and we want to say this is the collection. So what we want to do then is we want to go over here and we say extract the SEO keywords and can be used based on this website. So we want to extract some SEO keywords. And later then we are going to say create 25 high intent prompts based on this. So we want the LLM to generate dynamically on the fly some prompts that we think an LLM would ask. So we ask the LLM to generate LLM prompts which is then would put to itself, and then we would like afterwards to understand if these brands are actually mentioned. So we are doing a search web browse web tool, and then actually we want to understand if this is actually mentioned by the LLM or not. In our case, we're using the Gemini model with browse web and search web availabilities. And finally, then we are writing this to a Google Sheet. here we say write this to this Google Sheet, and additionally on top of that we are going to generate an HTML file, which is like a dashboard that can help us to find some action items or derive some specific insights from that. So we're generating this here with a code node, some simple HTML kind of file. And so now that the files are indexed, so you see all of these companies are indexed, I could also go over to my chat and ask what types of reports does these search ranking tools provide to users. I guess like somebody mentioned something around that topic on their website. We can go back to our workflow and we want to go to variables tab. I have set these brands here, Profound, Otelia, Athena, PKA, and so on. And these are the brands that we are going to track. We have created like a Google Sheet here with all the companies or brands that we want to track. And we want to do this because we want to run this every day. And every day we want to understand if the geo score of this company actually changed over time. And now that we are kind of ready, we can run this experiment. So what this workflow is going to do, it's going to list through all the files that we have indexed. So all the 5 home pages. It's going to extract the information of all of these 5 home pages here. For all of the files, we have 5 items. We're going to extract what the contents of these files are, which is the content of the home pages of these companies. And now that it's done, we are passing this over to an AI agent node. And you see it created kind of like 227 citations or items that we could come up with. And so we are giving these all together to the AI agent. And we are saying, please generate me 25 high intent prompts on this. So one would be list the top AI search monitoring tools in 2025 that help brands track their visibility in generative AI engines like Perplexity and SearchGPT. And I think this is like a LLM prompt, for example, these companies would like to be visible in. What are the best marketing analytics dashboards for visualize LLM tracking and generative AI search traffic? I think this is relevant to all of these companies. And now we are using these 25 prompts, and each of these prompts we are using to feed this to an LLM. And then we want to understand based on this prompt, what brands does the LLM actually mention? So we have to wait a bit because search web, browse web is going to do together with the LLM search taking a bit of time because it's a relatively heavy process. But the information we are getting out of this is actually very interesting. The prompts and the resulting answers the LLM gives back based on all of these prompts. So now we see they have generated the 25 answers, and we want to then see across these if the brands have been mentioned, so is mentioned here, and we want to understand if these brands actually have been mentioned by these different by the answers, for example, brand Profound, and we get these this response here. And in the first one, for example, Profound is actually not mentioned, so that is something maybe the Profound guys would like to enhance. And we could see then now check if it is mentioned or not across the different kind of answers. So I can already see here 105 times peak AI has been mentioned, and now we are passing this over actually here to our node where we are saying, hey, add this data to our sheet. So we see these different companies are actually doing differently well. So we are seeing Profound apparently doing very well, Otelia AI doing also relatively well, and Peak AI not doing so well compared to the other providers. And so the beauty of this, that we in the end here also generated with this code node a specific HTML template which visualizes us this data. We get this wonderful HTML, and this is actually also giving us some action items. Apparently Profound dominates this geoanalytics, and 28% of the prompts actually didn't return any brands. 2 of these companies underperform actually, and we can see also in which kind of like context here whom is mentioned. Peak AI has 5 mentions, Quota 2, Athena HQ 2, Otelia 7, and Profound has 9. And we can also see which type of questions whom has been mentioned. For example, let's go here to one question where only Peak AI has mentioned. Recommend permanent tools that analyze how competitors are ranking in AI search assistant compared to traditional SERPs. And apparently here we see the LLM actually gave back Peak AI also as a potential tool if you would put this as a prompt to the Gemini LLM. So that's good for Peak AI because they are the only ones who are mentioned in this question, but none of their competitors is mentioned. And down here we can see this also as a heat map. We can see kind of like how the competitors are mentioned across different kind of prompts across these different 25 questions. So if you want to track your brand's performance across different competing tools and create this HTML on the fly, you can just use this workflow template here. It's very easy to use. You just need to index the home pages of the brands that you would like to track, and then basically set up your Google Sheet. Have fun with this workflow template. Try to understand how you're performing across your competitive landscape when it comes to generative engine optimization. See you soon. Here, Jan from Team Lidl, and thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and this template, please share it with your friends or give this video a like. We're always very thankful to hear what you are thinking of these workflow templates and what you are building these days. Until next time,